Hello, welcome to another episode of Moist Nougat. I am the kid. Want to start out by saying happy birthday to my brother-in-law John. His birthday is this coming next Saturday, I guess. The next Saturday. Anyways, happy birthday, John. I don't know if John even listens to these. I don't think John has the time to listen to these, but monotony, lack of variety and interest, tedious repetition and routine. That is the topic I'm going with this week, because I feel like it's things have become rather monotonous in my life. I think when COVID hit, I think life became monotonous for everybody, pretty much. Couldn't go out, you couldn't do anything, you couldn't, for the most part, you barely go to the grocery store and not feel like you were going to get sick. And for me, it was even heightened because of my wife's MS. I won't get into the whole MS thing. It's an autoimmune disease, which means that, just the flu could be very dangerous for her. So COVID even worse, especially during the height of the pandemic. So I didn't go anywhere. We didn't go anywhere. It's not that we had a huge nightlife and we were out and about all the time before COVID, but we weren't nervous about going out and doing things. And I'll be honest with you, I still am. And I feel like I should be masking up again because it's winter, and I just keep my distance from people when I do go to the grocery store or whatever. But we don't do shit anymore. We really don't. And my wife does less because she doesn't even go out to the grocery store and stuff because it's hard. But yeah, like that is part of the monotony is going to the grocery store. Like it's just like, oh shit, I wake up, and I'm down to going like instead of going and buying, because groceries are so expensive, it feels like it hurts a little less when you just get like, I'll go, like tomorrow, I'm probably going to the grocery store. And I'm not going to look for, it's not like it's a pain in the ass, but it's like, it's all I fucking do. Especially because I said that groceries have gotten so expensive, to go a couple times a week, it feels like it just hurts a little less. The pocketbook anyway is a little less. So I'll go, tomorrow and I'll get, 3 or 4 dinners. We'll plan out 3 or 4 dinners. But that's monotonous. Just figuring out what to eat. It's like we've run out of fucking things to eat that sound good. We'll sit here and go, God, we just had that a couple weeks ago, and she keeps finding recipes, and I need to sit down and look at them and see if any of them look good. But it's also, groceries are so expensive. It's like I don't know if I really want to try a bunch of things that I don't know if I'm going to like. But the flip side of that coin is eating the same things over and over. It's monotonous. It's got pizza subs to eat tonight, and we haven't had Bellacino's pizza subs in a while, so I'm looking forward to that. Even though it's just a pizza sub, it's nothing's great. But like I said, we haven't had them in a while. I do make my wife eat her share of pizza because I'm a pizza crazy person, but I can eat pizza 2 or 3 times a week probably. But yeah, like I said, just going to the grocery store, just monotonous. The monotony of all the prices going up. Every time I turn around, like football, I know the Super Bowl's next weekend, but we have Paramount. That's going to be on Paramount, and even if we didn't, I'd get the rabbit ears out and we'd be able to watch it. But because football season's over, Sunday ticket's over, I canceled YouTube TV. I don't know if I talked about that recently or not, but yeah. So I've got like 3 days left of YouTube TV, and one of the things I enjoy doing in the mornings is getting up and having a cup of coffee, and I'll turn on ESPN. Usually like Get Up or something with Mike Greeny or whatever, and I'm not going to be able to do that anymore because I won't have ESPN anymore. But $80 a month, it's not worth it. But you get rid of YouTube TV, so you're like, all right, there's $80 a month we're not spending. And then Spectrum, my lovely Spectrum, raises our cell phone prices. Not like a couple of dollars, $6 per line. So that's another $12. So take that off the $80 and, and like recently our car insurance went up. So we're spending $25 more on car insurance a month. And that's even with shopping around and getting cheaper insurance than what we had. So, you're now 37, let's just say $40. So now when I'm saving on YouTube TV, I'm only saving half because those other two things went up. And, what's next? What else is going to go up? So the fact that things just keep going up and up and up, especially these TV things, because there's hardly anything new on yet. I mean, because of the strike and all that, some of the new shows haven't even started back up yet. So you're watching the same thing. I'm paying to watch, like I've been watching New Amsterdam on Peacock. I already watched the whole 5 seasons of it when it was on before it got canceled. But I like binge watching. But after you get a couple seasons in, it starts getting monotonous. You're like, shit, I've already seen it. I don't 100% remember all of it, but as you're seeing it, you're like, yeah, I remember this. And it's like monotonous. I want new TV. Fuck. I'm paying to watch TV shows that I've already paid to watch. It's monotonous. What else? I know I talked about we're looking into buying a house, but looking at houses for me is a bit monotonous because especially at this point where we're at, we're not ready to go look at the house and go like, this is the one and put an offer in. So some of these houses that we're looking at, we find some neat houses. Really, my wife is finding them. And you're like, yeah, this is really cool. I wouldn't mind going and looking at this one. All of a sudden, it's off the market, or it's sold, or it's pending. So that's kind of monotonous. It's exciting, but also monotonous because you're seeing potential houses that you could see yourself in falling off the list. And again with the TV thing, I was talking about, watching sports. That's another downside to not having like cable TV or like a YouTube TV or a Sling or but that's all monotonous too, because do you go with Fubo TV or do you go to YouTube TV or do you go back to cable? Not Spectrum, because Spectrum's not getting any more fucking money than they already are out of me. Spectrum has become monotonous. But then Sling, but what's monotonous about all that is the fact that, like Sling, when Sling first came out, they were saying they were a la carte, but that's not true, because a la carte means I can pick, you know. It's not like getting ice cream sundae and going, I want a la carte. I want, vanilla ice cream with caramel sauce, and I want, orange sprinkles, and I want chopped peanuts. That's a la carte. I can get all these things on it, or I can decide not to. But what they do is they have an orange package and a blue package, two of my favorite colors, orange and blue. But they strategically put certain channels in the blue package and other channels in the orange package. And they do it on purpose, and I know why they do it, because they want you to get the orange and blue package. But when Sling first came out, it was like $20 each. Now it's like $40 each. So it's basically the same price as YouTube TV. It's like one's getting $80 and the other one's like, well, fuck it, we're going to get $80 too. But like Sling will throw like their ESPNs in one package, but then like their NFL Network and something else in their other package. So they're forcing you as a sports fan to buy both packages, because they know that if you're watching ESPN and Fox Sports and NBC Sports, you're gonna want NFL Network and whatever, the Big East, or whatever other sports channels, but they mix it up instead of just going like, hey, here's our orange package, this is for sports lovers, and put all those channels in there, and then put in your history and Discovery and all that and the other ones. I don't know. So I'm going to miss watching live sports. I have to consider getting ESPN Plus again. And I had that last year for a while so I could watch hockey. And I think it was like $5.99 or $6.99. Well, now that's probably $12. Last time I checked, it was $9.99. So, I mean, they keep going up $2 and $3, which is not crazy that they're going up a couple dollars, but it's because, all right, well, $3. But they're all going up $2 and $3. So, you have to be picky in which ones you want. But you also, as a consumer, you suffer because you're not getting everything you want because you can't afford it. And believe me, I know that, I'm in better shape than a lot of people are out there. So it's a, crappy thing to complain about, how many channels you have on your TV when some people might not have any. Just maybe the rabbit ears or not even the rabbit ears. But that's part of the monotony of it all. It's just greed. Greed has become monotonous because all these companies are so greedy. And it's just, it's frustrating. And just living in this house is monotonous. And again, some people don't have a house, but that's not we're talking about how I feel monotonous and not solving all the world's problems. But yeah, it's a rental house. There's a lot of issues with this place. And I try to, when there is an issue, it's like, man, I don't want to let the management company know, because every time they come out and fix something, they fuck something else up. And it ends up being worse than it was before they came. But like our HVAC system a couple weeks back started squealing one day. And when we lived in the apartment in down in town, we had the same issue, and it was, was loud and annoying, and it was right outside the bedroom window. So when it was doing it, it's like, holy shit. But this started doing it, so I immediately went in, and because it's a bearing or something's going bad. I mean, it's not supposed to make that noise. So I went in and put in, a maintenance request, and it just explained, said it's working, but it's just making a really bad noise, and obviously that's something's not right. Well, this was I can't remember. It was a while. It was a month and a half ago, and it was a long weekend, so they weren't even going to be open on a Monday. And I think this might have been a Friday afternoon when it started doing it. And I put in the maintenance request, and then over the next couple of days, it stopped doing it. And it had gone a full day and a half without making that noise again. So I went in and I put it in. It just said that the thing's still working. The noise went away. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I mean, obviously something's not right with it. Like I said, it's a bearing or something. It needs, to be greased or whatever. So I'm going to leave it up to you whether you want to send somebody out. Well, they basically just canceled the maintenance request. Well, today it started doing it again. And I told my wife, I said, I hope the fucking thing just blows up. Not the whole house, but the air conditioner. So they have to come out and put a brand fucking new one in. Don't understand why they don't do general maintenance on places. They that's monotonous too. And I know I'm overusing the word monotonous because all this isn't monotonous. That's just stupid. If I own the house and I'm renting it out, I want to make sure that the HVAC system is getting serviced every year. Because it's a lot cheaper to do that than it is to have to replace it because it wasn't maintained. And that's with everything in the house. I want to, pest and exterminator, treating the house. Like, not for spiders necessarily, but I mean, I own the house. I don't want termites in the house. And as a matter of fact, I let them know that the shed was full of termites. Maybe the first summer we were here. And you could actually see where they had eaten some of the beams away and they just didn't care. And I'm like, but the thing of it is okay, you don't care about the shed, but what if they decide to move over to the house? I know this is a mainly brick house, but they can eat away the wood that is here and do a lot of damage. But I'm like, okay. It's like the place we lived in Texas. They were said it's up to you if you want to have the house traded. And I noticed shortly before we moved, some termite damage that it was happening as we were living there towards the end. And I was like, fuck them. I hope these fucking termites eat the entire goddamn house. Because these landlords were, whatever. They stiffed us for our security deposit and everything else. But what are you going to do when I'm in North Carolina and they're in Texas, and not worth getting a lawyer or anything like that. But back to the house being monotonous. The shed was part of it because it's not our house, so we can't really do. And there's only so much you can do when you live in a rental. I mean, this is definitely better than the apartment. The apartment definitely got monotonous with the loud neighbors upstairs and parking and, just that kind of crap. So this is definitely better than living in an actual apartment. This is a house. But like I said, there's a lot of issues with this house. And one of them being when we moved in, kind of our fault, but we had to move fast. And so we didn't really see the house. I mean, we did, but we came in the house, we looked at the house, and they were still working on painting and doing stuff like that. So, but you got an idea. It's like, okay, but you don't really see all the issues. And like I didn't go down in the shed. From outside, the shed looked like, man, what a great shed. It's on a concrete pad. And, it's going to be nice to have this shed and be able to put my tools and stuff. Because before that, when we lived in the apartment, a lot of our stuff was in storage. So we were paying for a storage unit that went up. every year, a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And really the only way to save money at these fucking storage places, because you get in there, you get it, when you do it, you do an online and you get whatever deal they're offering. And so it might be 6 months at, this much for this size. But then you can't like go on there and like get a deal once you've already gotten it. So let's say your 6 months go over and it goes up $50 a month. The only way to do that would be able to literally to rent another unit and move all your shit out of the one into another one and get that deal for, I mean, it's stupid. It's just stupid. There's no loyalty to the existing customer base that a company has anymore. They offer all these great deals for new customers only. Well, okay, I've been a customer for 10 years. And you should be just offering me the best deal possible that's available, but you don't, because you're so greedy that you'd rather just get more money out of my wallet, or it's up to me to continually shop for the best deal. That's the thing. That's the monotonous part of that, is it's almost a full-time job. When your insurance is coming due at the end of your 6 months or a year, whatever you got it set up at, you got to start looking for insurance to see if you can get a better deal on insurance. Same with like cable TV or not so much with like YouTube TV. I think their price is what it is. I mean, periodically they'll offer, a new customer gets a free month or whatever. That I understand. I mean, they're not going to give me a free month, although they should if I'm a long-time customer. If you're offering a free month, you should just give me a free month because I've been a customer for X amount of time. They don't do that because they want my $80 for that month. But all of it, just all of it. I don't know how these people like go to the grocery store and they'll hit like 10 different grocery stores to get the best deal on this and this and that. Talk about monotonous. Like, I got to go to Food Lion and we're getting this at Food Lion, and then I have to go to Aldi and we're getting this at Aldi, and then I'm going to go to Harris Teeter and get this because this is on sale at Harris Teeter, and then Publix got a deal on this, so I'm going to Publix, and then Lidl's got this. And it's like you're talking like a whole fucking day just to grocery shop. And really, in the end, I mean, I don't know how much you're saving. I'm sure you're saving some, but you're also using more gas driving around. But, I mean, I know people that will drive, 30 miles to get gas because it's a nickel cheaper in South Carolina or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but that $2 that you saved at the pump, you used in gas getting there and back. We live really close to South Carolina, so technically it's not that big of a stretch here where we live. But, I mean, you got to save money where you can, but I'm not going to go that far out. I mean, because my time is worth money too. Kind of. I have some free time on my hands, and that is part of the monotony that I'm going through. And even doing this is becoming monotonous, even though I enjoy it. But I feel like podcasting is a team sport. Like, my intentions were not to, like, back in the day I did some shit, but it was more just fucking around shit, and sound effects and playing around and doing stuff like that. And it was fun when I did it. I don't want to do that now. I want to have more of a conversation with people. And I've got some ideas that I'm working on to hopefully make that happen. But yeah, I mean, just the, like I'm videotaping. I always say that and I date myself. It's so monotonous. I know. Everything's monotonous. It doesn't matter whether monotonous is the right word or not. This water, I'm parched. But it's so monotonous drinking water. But yeah, not videotaping, but I'm not filming either. But I know that's a cool word to use, filming. I'm recording. I'm video recording the podcast, and I started it back a while ago when Danilee and I were doing it, and I thought it'd just be fun to do. And then I started, putting the episodes. Well, I started chunking them up because I didn't know that I did. I thought that you had to have X amount of subscribers to put a video that was longer than 15 minutes. So I was crunching them down to 15 minutes, and just kind of like here you go. If you want to listen to the full thing, go listen to the actual podcast. Then I found out that I could put longer videos on there, so I just started putting the whole podcast on there. And I put pressure on myself to, like, once I do, I do something and I'm like, all right, well, okay, I need to do that every week. So I put the pressure on me, like, I gotta edit the video. And it's like, I don't know. I've talked about it before. I don't have 1 million followers. I don't have 1,000 followers. I don't have 100 followers. I do on TikTok. I have, almost 300, but this doesn't go on TikTok. But yeah, it's not so much monotonous as it is tedious, but tedious repetition and routine. That is more the part of monotony that fits me more than lack of variety and interest. A little bit of lack of variety in my day-to-day life, but the tedious part of it, I enjoy doing it. I mean, like I said, the podcast is supposed to be a team sport, so it's more fun when there's two people sitting here. We're going back and forth, and we're talking about stuff, and obviously probably more interesting to look at than just looking at me, looking at my ugly mug. But then, like, editing the podcast and taking notes. Like, I started taking show notes. I guess they call them in the biz. And I had a composition book, and, I filled up the entire like episodes 1 through 100 in a composition book. And now I've got, 101 to where I'm at now, episode 130. Like, I can't just quit doing it. There's something in my brain that won't allow me. It's like, even though I don't feel like doing this, I have got to do it because I am like what is the goddamn word? Routine kind of person, and a process kind of person. And that's part of the process. When I edit the audio of the podcast, I just jot down my notes. And this is how anal I am about it. I do it on a blank sheet of paper, and then I copy those notes into the composition book because I never know how long the notes are going to be, if it's going to, and if I'm going to, like, I took too many notes. I need to paraphrase, and I don't want scratching. I even have whiteout. I have a bottle of whiteout. I don't scratch a word out. I white it out, let it dry, and then write over it. So yes, you can see where that becomes a little bit tedious. And then of course I edit the video, and it's all on the same day. And the podcast posts on Thursdays and the video posts on Thursdays. And then I do just a kind of a random video, and I named it because it was all over the place, and generally a lot of times it's just me driving around the car shooting the shit about something. And this past week, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna call it a vlog. So it's vlogging with the kid, and it's also on my YouTube channel, if you're wondering. But yeah, so, and it's going to be episodic, episode 1, episode 2. And then I also do the Does It Suck, which is me just trying, candy or food or sometimes just whatever. I think I did my little mini Cobalt toolboxes and my mini basketball. Yeah, there's a theme there too. The whole mini thing is just monotonous. But yeah, it becomes tedious because it's repetitive. It's the same thing, and I try to have a schedule, and I'm a note taker, but I also, have my checklist thing, my Google checklist or whatever, and my calendar. I have to keep my calendar updated, and I'm very organized when it comes to that stuff. But it does become monotonous or tedious. I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other things that are monotonous. I kind of skipped over the monotony of living in this house. Started talking about the shed and termites and kind of lost track. The fact that the shed is in such bad shape on the inside. I mean, it's just full of dirt and dust, and it's rotting away, and it's not a place where I'm going to put my tools. I have some basic, my lawnmower's down there, and some of the yard tools and stuff like that. Because I can't have the lawnmower in the house, but and some stuff that junk that I need to get rid of. But yeah, it makes my studio room a little monotonous because there's stuff in here that needs to be in a shed or in a garage or a basement, or something like that. That's dry. So I'm constantly, moving things around, and I've got, there's not a lot of free space in here. This would be the perfect room for a studio. If it didn't have some of the stuff that needs to be somewhere else. So it's kind of I don't want to say garage but there's stuff that I would have in an attic that you could actually get into. This is just you can't really get around the attic. The only thing that's in the attic, and it's right at the top of the stairs, is like the Christmas and Halloween decorations, and put some plywood down to make an area where I could put that stuff. Because if it was down here, then it would just be just here. I mean, and there was a time where I did have my toolboxes. I have a small little rolling toolbox and a bigger rolling toolbox. They were actually out here in the room. They're in the laundry room that's right off to the side here of me. Because it's a decent enough size, laundry room, but yeah, so it's just full of tools and stuff. The tools should be in a garage, there's no garage here. There's no shade here. So in the summertime, it's fucking so hot outside, and it's it's tedious to sit out there. It's monotonous. It's monotonous having to, set up a easy up every time you want to. Well, basically in the summertime, it goes out every day, and I don't have to take it down every day. But then I always worry, if wind picks up or something, because it's been windy here for the last year for some reason. It's like Chicago. But yeah, and just, not being able to, have things the way you want to have them because you just don't know how long you're going to be here. We're about 6 months into the lease now, and so, it's like I wanted to, I keep worrying about the wall behind me. I kind of overdid it, and this and that, and worrying about stuff gets monotonous too. But it's like, it is what it is for right now, because now that we're looking for a house, there's not a whole lot of point or reason to, keep tweaking things. Of course, I probably still will here and there because that's just my personality, which gets monotonous. But I don't know. I understand that I'm in control of the monotony, and I'm like, yeah, I need to get out and get some exercise, some walking, and I've got this monotonous hip issue going on. My hips, for some reason. I mean, it's hard. I make it to the mailbox, I get the mail, and I come back. Same when I take the garbage can out. By the time I'm halfway back down the driveway, it's like one of my hips starts hurting, and I'm like, shit. Like, how can I go take a walk? But I don't know. Maybe I need to take a walk and fight through that, and maybe it'll go away. I don't know. Lately, I've been feeling every bit of my 55 years, and that is monotonous. It's very monotonous. But like I said, I do have some feelers out there, not for a guest host anymore. I've kind of moved on from that for the time being, because if we move, I don't want to get somebody in here for 8-10 episodes and then move too far away for them to be able to do it. So I'm looking more some different routes, some called-in guests maybe, things like that, kind of like Dana Lee did last week. I know the thing that will drive me crazy about that is the audio from the call-in. But if that's what we're doing with the podcast, then I mean, it's audible. You can hear it. It's just not as good as having a microphone and being in the same room. But when we do find our landing spot, our coffin, as my wife is calling it, she's calling it our pyramid now, because I said the coffin was kind of morbid. She's calling it our pyramid. So, but coffin is funnier. But yeah, when we do find out, we don't even know where it's going to be. But we're open to moving to different towns. Staying in North Carolina because I don't want to have to go through switching insurance and switching our driver's license to a different state, because that's a whole nother tedious process. Moving back from Texas, it cost us almost $1,000 to register our cars in this fucking state. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I think this is going to be a short episode this week, guys, because it's getting late. I'm hungry. Guys and gals. Sorry. But yeah, monotony. I'm in control. I need to get out there and start using my camera, taking some pictures, I guess, to break the monotony. Like I said, I bought the camera more for video stuff, but it is a camera and it does take pictures. So I've been brainstorming some ideas because I want to have like a theme. If I start taking pictures, I want to have a, like street photography. I always thought was kind of cool, but I'm a little apprehensive about walking around downtown, and we don't live in a city, so it wouldn't be all that exciting probably. But like wildlife photography, that's not my thing. Not that, I wouldn't take some cool pictures if I went up to Crowder's Mountain or something like that, but more of a theme, more of what I'm into, and I'm trying to figure that out. And that's why I haven't really taken a ton of pictures. Night photography would be cool, but there's a bit of a learning curve with that. There's a bit of a learning curve with everything with this camera so far. Last time I used it, the autofocus was going wonky on it, and it was getting real dark. So I changed the light temperature, and I think that might have been the issue. I think it was just a little bit too dark, and I also had a couple lights over here pointing, and I don't know if that was screwing it up or something. I don't know. I have no idea. It's so monotonous. But on that note, I'm going to call this one an episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you do, I am the Kid, and we'll catch you next time.